All right. Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you all so much for coming to our Cleanup, a virtual event centered around clean energy jobs. This event is hosted by GPS, and we are a group of SIUE senior public relations students. This event is going to give you all several resources and tools to help save our planet. Today, we're going to learn about clean energy jobs, the clean energy workforce, the Clean Energy Jobs Act, and several steps you all can take to help keep our environment clean. Also, right now, if you would all like, you can put in your email in the chat just so we can provide links throughout the presentation to you guys and afterwards of several of the resources that we're going to mention. But now we are going to introduce the GPS Public Relations team. So first off is myself. Hello, everybody. My name is Jimmy Del Vecchio, and I am the Account Traffic Executive. Some fun facts about me. My hometown is Belleville, Illinois. It's like 20 minutes from Edwardsville. I am a public relations major, and I'm minoring in political science. And a fun fact, I am a triplet. So I have a brother and a sister who are the same age as myself.
Hi, everybody. My name is Reagan Stowers, and I'm the Account Analysis Executive. A couple of fun facts about myself. I'm from Highland, Illinois. My major and minor is public relations and then psychology. And then my fun fact was that I am a full-time dog lover as I work at a doggy daycare. So.
Hi, everyone. My name is Allie Stiers. I am our Account Design Executive. I am also from Belleville, Illinois. My major is public relations and my minor is psychology. And a fun fact about me is I have 14 tattoos.
Hello, everybody. My name is Jalissa Martinez. I am the Account Copy Executive. A little bit about me. My hometown is Waukegan, Illinois. It's about an hour north of Chicago. My major is public relations. Minor is Spanish, and a fun fact about me is I love anything astrology related. And I am a Cancer, if anybody else is a Cancer zodiac sign.
I'm Kaylin. I am the account manager. I am from Alton, Illinois, and my major is public relations with a minor in business administration. And a fun fact about me is that I am converting a Chevy 2002 Chevy Express van into a camper as of right now to get to travel around the area. So we're going to go ahead and kick off this meeting with a question. So I'm going to stop sharing real quick. If everybody could just in the chat, just put yes or no. Just because the polls weren't working correctly earlier. So have any of you heard of the Clean Energy Job Act before? So just put yes or no in the chat, just so that we can kind of gauge an idea of your answers. So I'm going to go ahead and pass the baton over to Sally. She is with the Sierra Club, and there you go. Sally, you're on mute. Oh, she said 1 second. Okay. Yeah, so we got a little mix here too. No's and yeses. That's good.
I told you in rehearsal, it never goes the way I'm expecting it to. So give me just 1 sec here. I got my mic on. And get that going. Are you seeing the slide?
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, great. Hello, everyone. My name is Sally Burgess. I am the downstate organizer for the Illinois chapter of Sierra Club. A fun fact about me is that I decided to go back to school a few years ago because I really wanted to work in the environment. I had a BS and an MCA, but decided to go back to school. And I went into the integrated Studies program and got a Master's of Science in Environmental Policy Communications. I graduated in spring of 2019, and in August of 2019, I was hired by the Sierra Club to work on the Clean Energy Jobs Act. So working with GPS has caused me to reminisce, of course, about back when I was in my undergrad, and I have to say it was 40 years ago. My first job out of my undergrad was as a reporter in Grand Junction, Colorado. And one of my first assignments was to go to a press conference with a gentleman by the name of Amory Lovins. Amory was out talking to people about tax credits. This is 40 years ago, remember, talking to people about tax credits for homeowners and business owners to put solar panels on their homes. The president at that time, Jimmy Carter, knew that there had been gas and fuel shortages and understood that energy efficiency was important and that renewable energies were the way of the future. And so Carter had people going out around the country talking to people about tax incentives to put solar energy on their homes. Unfortunately, when Ronald Reagan came into office after Jimmy Carter, that entire program was scrapped. So Carter had put solar panels on the White House and those were taken off. He had an entire program that was going to fund research and development for solar panels and wind, electric transportation, all of that got scrapped. So that was 40 years ago. And I want you to imagine what our lives would look like if that had not happened. So this is Amory Lovin's residence in Snowmass, Colorado. This gentleman, for the last several decades, has built a home. You can see the outside of his home here, and everything about it is energy efficient, and he pays virtually nothing for gas or electricity. If you can see what we're looking at here in the top, it is a huge greenhouse. You can see there are actually bananas growing in this greenhouse in Snowmass, Colorado. And if you're not familiar with Colorado, Snowmass is one of the most popular ski resort areas in the state. So it's in the mountains, lots of sunshine, but also lots of snow and lots of cold. Because of his energy efficient home, they have this huge greenhouse that is the main source of heat for their home. Lots of other features in this home. And Lovins went on to found the Rocky Mountain Institute, which specializes in energy efficiency and innovation. But this gives you an idea of what we can move toward if we get serious about renewable energy. So one of his quotes is this idea that public discourse about climate change has resulted in the erroneous idea that it's all about cost, burden, and sacrifice. He said if the math was correct, everyone would see it's about profit, jobs, and competitive advantage. So the very things that we've allowed to hold us back, cost, burden, and sacrifice, is not the case. When we're pursuing renewable energy, we're on a good path. So enter the Future Energy Jobs Act. Illinois became a leader in the country in 2016 when we passed the Future Energy Jobs Act. You can see some of the headlines. Illinois adds solar jobs despite stormy forecast in Washington. And I love that the biggest clean energy breakthrough in Illinois history. So all of this money was put into helping businesses start up. So there were solar businesses, paying people to put on solar panels, really advanced renewable energy in the state of Illinois. What we realized right away, though, is that the funding was not going to last long enough. And so immediately the Illinois Clean Jobs Coalition started working on CEJA, the Clean Energy Jobs Act. So the Future Energy Jobs Act allowed 1 million homes to receive renewable energy by 2021. Here we are, brought Illinois Solar for All to disadvantaged communities. So in those communities where residents cannot afford solar panels, there can be solar installations that still provide their electricity and more energy savings and lower electric bills. You'll learn that energy efficiency is a huge part of this equation. So when we started looking at the Clean Energy Jobs Act, and Kaylin, if you will you let me know when I'm at 5 minutes, when I only have 5 minutes left. Okay, great. We started working on the Clean Energy Jobs Act by going all around the state and talking to people in their communities about what they need. And we had over 100 of these community meetings, and we took that information back and crafted a 900-page piece of legislation that is now called the Clean Energy Jobs Act. We thought that we were going to get that passed last spring. We were really close. It was looking really good, but then COVID shut everything down, and there was virtually no legislation that passed in 2020. So here we are in 2021. The legislative session is moving forward, and we are confident that we're going to get CEJA across the finish line by May 31st of this year. So now we're going to go to the Illinois Clean Jobs Coalition website. I wanted you to see that if you want to do more exploration on Clean Energy Jobs Act, you can go to this website, which has everything that you could possibly want to know. Let's scroll down here a little bit and run through the main pieces of the Clean Energy Jobs Act. Equitable workforce. We wanted to make sure that the jobs that become available through CEJA are not for the people who are already high quality jobs, but it's for the people, and this is often the BIPOC communities, as we all know. So there's a significant foundation of equity in the Clean Energy Jobs Act. Energy access and solar for all. Again, those solar installations that can be put near a community that can help with their energy needs. So it isn't on each individual household. Renewable energy and energy efficiency. A quick story about Jimmy Carter back in the 80s. He put together, he had all federal buildings, all government buildings keep their heat no higher than 65 in the winter, and their air conditioning no lower than, I'm forgetting, maybe 72 in the summer. And in 22 months that saved, this is back in 1980, mind you, in 22 months that saved $4.5 billion. So you can imagine if we focused on energy efficiency now, how much we would save. We're looking to have carbon-free power. We're looking to do capacity market reforms. So the bulk of our energy in Illinois is provided by renewable energy, not fossil fuel energy. We're looking to electrify the transportation system. So there's a lot of electric mass transit. And we want to support the fossil fuel workers and their communities. So you may, if you're paying attention to the headlines, you may have noticed that coal plants are shutting down. We had a notice just a couple of weeks ago that another plant in Southern Illinois is going to be shutting down. What happens to those communities? Often the corporation pretty much says, we're shutting down, you're out of a job, we'll see you later. CEJA requires that there is ample notice so the community knows the coal plant's going to be shutting down. And then there's some sort of package that helps the community bridge the tax dollars that will be lost and the jobs that will be lost. So that's an important part of CEJA as well. And then utility accountability. You also may have heard that there have been a few scandals in the utility industry over the last few years. So if you decided to go to this website, you can get a lot more information on any of these pieces. It will tell you all about equitable workforce development and energy access for all, what we're talking about in terms of carbon-free power, 100% carbon-free by 2030. How am I doing on time, Kaylin? I'm going to keep going. So you can see any one of these you click on, you're going to get a lot of information. So let us get back to this presentation. I'm hoping that you're thinking, gosh, this sounds great. And I really want to look back in 40 years and know I did my part to have a beautiful, clean, healthy environment. And it started when I helped get the Clean Energy Jobs Act across the finish line. So we have for you a Clean Energy Jobs Act action toolkit. And in this toolkit, you're going to get everything you need. I think it's going to be put in the chat. The link to this toolkit will be put in the chat. And when you look through that toolkit, you're going to have live links that would allow you to sign up for phone banking so that we can call our legislators and call the governor's office and tell them we want Illinois to be in a leadership role. It will help you know how to email or use social media to communicate with your legislators. It will take you to this fun link for photo petitions. So in the photo petition, you would download your photo and it goes off to the Clean Jobs Coalition and gets posted on Facebook as a petition with your legislators tagged. Online petitions are available, so you can spend probably less than a minute saying, I'm in support of the Clean Energy Jobs Act. That's available for you. You can have a party where people get together, where students get together and write letters to the editor asking for a clean energy future. I can't imagine a more powerful voice than students. And you can join us for Lobby Day, which is April 26th. We're going to have an entire week of action, which is also lined out for you in the toolkit. And on Monday, I believe it's Monday the 26th, is the Lobby Day, where we'll have a big rally, which is always a ton of fun, and we'll be meeting with our legislators. So our government, as you know, is for the people, by the people, and we would love for you to get involved in getting this across the finish line. So to wrap up with another quote by Amory Lovins, fire made us human, fossil fuels made us modern, but now we need a new fire that makes us safe, secure, healthy, and durable. And I thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, Sally. In the chat, we've provided some links to the CEJA Action Toolkit. And now we're going to hear from Michelle from Wind Solar USA.
Thank you, Allie. Hi, everyone. I'm Michelle Knox. I'm the owner of Wind Solar USA, located in Springfield, Illinois. A little background about me. I'm a graduate of Lincoln Land Community College. I received a degree in business management and then went back and got a transfer degree in business administration. Out of college, I went into business, worked in insurance for about 10 years. I was the manager of a department that did home and auto insurance for a local agency here in Springfield. And as I got towards the end of that 10 years, I just kind of felt like I wasn't making a difference. And so I had a daughter, and I was out, I was looking for an opportunity for her to, they'd let me work from at home. We were going to be having to put her in daycare or something of that nature. So I was looking for an opportunity and discovered Montessori. So I went and looked, and it's what I kind of thought education should be and never was for me. I ended up pulling back from my job in insurance, went to school and trained to be a Montessori teacher. So I switched it up and became a Montessori teacher, and I did that for 10 years. Towards the end of that segment, I was, and students will appreciate that, I was having a drink with a friend, and he happened to be from California, or I'm sorry, from Colorado, California, the out there thinkers and progressives, we'll say. And he said, I wonder if someone could take out a loan for a solar system and then use the savings each month that they generate from that solar system to pay that loan off, pay it off, and then at the end have free energy from the sun. Well, that so intrigued and enticed me. And it happened to be at summer when I was off. So I began researching and trying to decide if I thought that could happen. This was in 2007. I determined that I thought it could happen. And at that time, paybacks would be about 20 years. But I was like, well, what else could you buy that would pay for itself and then give something back to you at the end? So even on a 20-year payback, I moved forward with research and development, taking training, and was a bit intimidated, took it through the Midwest Renewable Energy Association in Wisconsin, which at the time, there were only 2 training centers in the entire United States for renewable energy. Logistically, Wisconsin was closer than Colorado, so that's where I went. And the majority of the students in the classroom with me were male electricians. So I'm not an electrician, but I stuck it out and built the business And here I am today in 2021, operating my own business out of Springfield. So my point to the story is that you can do anything you want to do if you want to do it bad enough and you have the passion for it. So I hope that that story helps to inspire some of you to want to move forward and do things like this for yourself. So with that, I'm going to move forward on talking about some clean jobs in Illinois today. So. Sorry, guys, just a minute. Mouse, there we go. Okay. So again, I'm Michelle. This is my contact information, and my contact information will be on the final slide as well. If anybody has questions, feel free to email me, call me. I'm always happy to help. So let's start with some clean job statistics. General clean energy jobs information. So clean energy jobs outpace other sectors. In 2019, more than 129,000 Illinoisans worked in clean energy. That's more than the combined workforce of real estate agents and brokers, computer programmers, web developers, and restaurant wait staff. And during this time, clean energy jobs were growing more than 5 times faster than overall statewide employment. So what is a clean energy job? Numerous different industries and occupations comprise the umbrella of clean energy jobs. As of 2019, around 73% of clean energy jobs were concentrated in energy efficiency, which includes Energy Star and efficient lighting, HVAC installation and maintenance, and more. Around 14% of jobs are in renewable energy, including jobs in wind, solar, and bioenergy. The remaining 12% of jobs are spread across advanced transportation, grid and storage, and advanced fuels. So there was a clean jobs equal better jobs. The Clean Jobs, Better Jobs report, which I have a link to at the bottom of this slide, and all of our presentations are going to be shared with you. But it's the first comprehensive analysis of wages and benefits across the clean energy sector. According to the report, workers in renewable energy, energy efficiency, grid modernization and storage, clean fuels and clean vehicles earned a median hourly wage of $23.89 in 2019, compared with the national median wage of $19.14. In addition, jobs in many clean energy sectors are more likely to be unionized and come with healthcare and retirement benefits than the rest of the private sector, the analysis shows. What we have here is just clean jobs wage information nationally and then compared to the state. So if we look at US total across the top, there's the 2019 median wage, the unionization rate, and then the nationwide employment. Then if we come down here, we're talking about clean energy industries overall, what that looks like. And then we go into each of the sectors that I'm going to be talking about. Renewable energy generation, breaking that down into solar and wind, energy efficiency, breaking that down into the 4 categories that fall under that topic, grid modernization and storage, clean fuels, and clean vehicles. So the takeaway from this is that we have 149,133,921 jobs employed in terms of jobs nationwide in 2019. And then if we look at it here, we break it down by the sector so that you can see what that looks like as well. But what about Illinois specifically? Well, small businesses like mine drive clean energy growth in Illinois. 74% of clean energy businesses employ fewer than 20 people. In my particular model, it's myself and my office manager. I call us the dynamic duo. And we hire then subcontractors that work under us that complete the actual installation. So we're a very small office to be able to do the work that we do. A recent analysis by E2 shows that in Illinois, average wages for clean energy jobs are about 13% higher than the average wage for other jobs. Public investments in clean energy help account for some of the growth in clean energy jobs. particularly following federal investments from the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act starting in 2009, and state investments through legislation like the Future Energy Jobs Act, FEJA, that Sally mentioned, and hopefully its predecessor that'll pass soon, CEJA, the Clean Energy Jobs Act. The combination of increased demand for clean energy and business-friendly energy policies like FEJA have led clean energy jobs to grow significantly faster than jobs in the rest of the Illinois economy. According to analysis of labor market data by Clean Jobs Midwest, whereas the overall Illinois job market grew 2.4% in 2018, clean energy jobs grew at a much quicker pace, about 4%. So in this slide, I wanted to kind of show, start giving some examples of what jobs might look like. So the first is admin. So we need administration in every type of office situation or every type of business. And so within, under admin, we'd have the office manager at the top, and then we might have a customer service manager. We might have someone that does accounting, like payroll, accounts receivable, and payable, and a receptionist. Now, in a small business environment, this could be multiple people that are working, or this could be one person that wears many hats. In small businesses, many times we have to do that, wear many hats. So that's why you see the arrows kind of going back and forth to show that they're all interrelated, and that one person can do more than one function. So the next thing that we're job category that we're going to talk about is technical sales. So within technical sales, again, this could be one person doing each one of these functions, or it could be one person doing all of them. So what we're talking about under technical sales would be design and cost modeling specialists. So people that actually would do either energy efficiency design or solar design, would then provide models that would show what the financial performance looks like. We might have site assessors that actually go out to the site to gather information. For instance, in shading or in solar, talking about shading, going out doing a shading analysis to look at the impact of trees, buildings, and other structures in terms of where the solar array is to be placed. Then we would have inside sales or / lead generation specialists. So folks that would actually take the information from over here. And in the case of inside sales would then be presenting that information to prospects, or in the case of lead generation specialists, calling and finding out if there's interest in pursuing either energy efficiency or solar jobs, and then setting up those leads with an inside sales or outside salesperson to follow up on. The final being the outside salesperson. So this would be somebody that actually goes out physically to the person's home, sits down with them at the table or at the place of business, and presents the information in terms of the plan that's been put together. We next move into installation and maintenance. So under that category, we could have a project manager. So we've now sold the project and we're to the point of getting ready to do the installation. So we need someone to manage that job to make sure that it is completed on time and on budget. We need someone that's going to procure the products that we need, to order those from the various distributors, to make sure that they arrive on time, to make sure that the installation team is not held up because of the products. Then we have the installers that are actually going to do the installation. And we could have installers that would be on the construction side of things or the electrical side of things. And then once we're installed, we're going to need to maintain that system. So we could have O&M jobs, operations and maintenance, where someone is in charge of actually overseeing the installation once it's complete to make sure that it's performing as it's supposed to. If there are problems at any point in the installation, troubleshooting to define what those problems are, and then implementing the solution. So I thought next we'd move into looking at some examples of what this looks like. So we're going to start very basic with small residential and small commercial buildings. And we're looking at two different occupations here. We're looking at the solar assembler / basic installer, and then we're going to look at the solar installation crew chief. So let's look at both of those in terms of, first off, the education and training level. So on the basic installer, it's a high school diploma or equivalent, often required, and OSHA 10 certification is useful. In terms of the chief, a high school diploma or equivalent, the OSHA 10 certification, generally NABCEP, which stands for the North American Board of Certified Energy Professionals. That certification is generally useful, and most have skilled, trained licensure and or electrical training. When we move to technical skills and abilities in these jobs, for the basic installer, just basic math skills, the ability to work at heights, ability to climb ladders with heavy equipment, ability to work on roofs and not be scared, and in heat and cold, and familiarity with hand tools. And then on the crew chief, the familiarity with the practices and procedures in photovoltaic, PV, that's what we install on rooftops for electrical generation, construction skills, mechanical and electrical skills, and the ability to read mechanical drawings. Other requirements, well, both are going to need to have a driver's license and reliable transportation, and depending on the employer, some may be required to pass a drug test. In terms of workplace navigation skills, both need to be reliable, both need to have ability to follow directions. And over here, the crew chief also needs to have excellent communication skills, because they're basically going to be the point guard that is taking the information from the developer, relaying it to the crew, and also sharing it possibly even with the customer, the end consumer. Work experience. On the basic, construction trade experience like carpentry, electrical, or roofing helpful. On the crew chief, additionally on the job experience as a solar assembler or installer. And then for all of the different examples that I'm giving, I'm not going to go through each of these, but I've listed for you different places that you could look for job training, depending on which occupation you're interested in. Moving on to example 2, we're going to amp it up a little bit now. So now we're going to a large residential and or large commercial building jobs. So here we'd be looking at an electrician apprentice or a a journeyman electrician. So education and training, to be an apprentice, you have to have a high school diploma or equivalent, at least 17 years of age, at least one algebra class with a grade of C or better. To be the journeyman electrician, you have to complete a 5-year apprenticeship program. Technical skills and ability. To get into the apprenticeship, they're going to do aptitude test covering, math and spatial reasoning. And in terms of the journeyman, he needs to be able to troubleshoot, repair, and maintain specific PV equipment, operation of the monitoring to understand how the monitoring works and to be able to use that for the troubleshooting, quality control analysis, management of personnel and resources, math skills, and physical dexterity. Other requirements, driver's license, reliable transportation, of course, authorized to work in the US, and again, a drug test may be, and physical exam may be necessary. To get into the apprenticeship, an oral interview is done, and you must apply in person when the apprenticeship opening is available. Workplace navigation skills need to be reliable and ability to follow directions. In terms of the journeyman electrician, judgment, decision-making, reliability, ability to follow directions, and excellent communication skills. Again, the journeyman electrician is going to be the one that's communicating ultimately back and forth between the developer, the customer, to make sure that everybody understands what's going on the job site. Work experience for the apprentice, none's required. The journeyman electrician, 5 years of experience as an electrician and completion of the training program. So in terms of local job training programs, again, I have offered opportunities here. And then if you want to be the journeyman electrician, it's through the IBEW NECA Technical Institutes. So let's put all that together and let's talk about a little pyramid of how this is going to work. So this is the small residential solar installer example career pathway. So we're going to start at the bottom because, as we know, we never start at the top. We always start at the bottom and we work our way up. So here we go. We have, in terms of the training and the education provider, we might have community-based workforce service providers. And the skills that they would be providing would be intensive work readiness and follow-up support, workplace basics, math remediation, and the employment opportunity would be lower skilled jobs here that would probably be around minimum wage. And then as we go up, you would go into more of a technical type training. So a 6 to 10 week training program, often provided by community-based organizations, currently funded by FEJA. And again, there's more elaboration on this in CEJA. So here we'd have a high school diploma or equivalent, ability to use hand tools, physical strength to lift up to 50 pounds, comfortable working on roofs in heat and cold, reliable transportation, OSHA 10 training. And that's going to get us over here into the entry-level skilled job for solar installer and basic assembler. So in terms of hourly rate, about $18 per hour in Chicagoland, $14 per hour in other parts of Illinois, $22 per hour for those with 1 year of experience in solar, $25 per hour for those with an electrician license, $15 to $21 per hour average nationally, $17 with an electrician's license. I can tell you that with my team that I pay the Union Electrical rate. So it just depends on where you're at, whether you go the NABCEP route for training or whether you go the IBEW route as to what these hourly rates are going to look like. And then we go up one more level to the community colleges and trade schools in which you would actually obtain a degree. There are actually some now 4-year degrees. I know that Illinois State University in Bloomington offers a 4-year degree in renewable energy at present. So it's come a long way from back when I started and there was only 2 training centers for renewable energy in the entire US. Now we have lots of different opportunities to get into the industry. I also am an instructor at Lincoln Land Community College to teach the basics of photovoltaics in terms of the introductory class and then site assessment. So there's a lot of opportunities to be able to gain skills to get into the industry. But through these, it's generally on-the-job learning, advanced certification, including an associate's degree and or a bachelor's degree. NABCEP certification is another pathway to get there with the electrician skills. This can get you over into a skilled technician, solar installation crew chief, and often even elevate you to the next level, where if you do have a bachelor's degree, plenty of on-the-job learning and advanced NABCEP certification, you could get into being a solar project manager. Or if you want to be at the top of the gambit, solar owner, like myself. Now I don't pay myself $85,000 a year, but some solar owners do. So when you get to the top, though, you have the ability to be able to determine what that wage looks like for you. So let's move on to energy efficiency and talk a bit about that. Remember that presently, that's where the majority of jobs are in the energy efficiency and renewable sectors. So under energy efficiency, we would have people that would sell energy saver appliances, products, and services. We'd have traditional HVAC installers. We'd have advanced and recycled building material workers. We'd have LED, CFL, and other efficient lighting opportunities and occupations. And we'd have renewable heating and cooling. So in looking at the examples here, example 1 for small residential and small commercial would be like a weatherization technician. And then taking that a step further would be an energy auditor. So in terms of your education, high school diploma or equivalent required on both. OSHA 10 certification, useful, construction training helpful. When you go to the auditor, generally certification is available through organizations such as the Building Performance Institute, Residential Energy Services Network, and the Association of Energy Engineers. In terms of your technical skills and abilities, for the weatherization technician, tool and equipment handling, safety protocols, analytical skills, mechanical skills, physical stamina and strength, and troubleshooting. And then on the auditor, additionally, troubleshooting, complex problem solving, math skills, analytical skills, ability to fit in tight spaces, such as attics and crawl spaces, and work on hands and knees. Other requirements, both are going to require the same in terms of the driver's license, reliable transportation, and possibly a drug test. Workplace navigation skills, you have to be detail-oriented, reliable, ability to follow directions. When you get to the energy auditor, we're going to add in customer service, because again, you're going to be the forefront. You're going to be at the forefront, talking with that customer, interacting with them, explaining what
yeah.
they're doing and what is recommended. In terms of work experience, construction experience like carpentry, HVAC, or electrical helpful but not required. And many energy auditors have work experience as weatherization technicians or other building construction experience, and then move into the auditor position. Again, I've provided some opportunities here where you could look to get that type of training if it's something that interests you. When we move into large commercial and large residential buildings, we're now talking more about being a carpenter apprentice or a journeyman carpenter. And so to get into the apprenticeship for a carpenter, you have to have a high school diploma or equivalent, be at least 17 years of age. And an unpaid pre-apprenticeship may be required. In Illinois, I don't think that's the opportunity. To be a journeyman, you have to complete the carpenter apprenticeship. To get into the apprenticeship, you have to have aptitude tests covering math and spatial reasoning. And then once you have completed the apprenticeship, you're going to have followed established safety rules and regulations, and for maintaining a safe and clean work environment. You're going to study specifications and blueprints, sketches, or building plans to prepare project layout and determine the dimensions and materials they require. You're going to be measuring, marking, cutting lines and materials to specifically follow those directions that you read, those prints and designs. You're going to use hand tools, machines, and power saws. You're going to install structures or fixtures such as windows, frames, flooring, trim, and select and order materials. So in terms of other requirements, basically there's a $25 application fee, your driver's license, reliable transportation for both. You have to pass a drug test in the apprenticeship, original social security card, and a reference letter from a local union or union contractor. So workplace navigation skills, you got to be reliable, you got to be able to follow directions. When you move over to being the journeyman, you've got to have judgment, decision making in addition to that, and again, excellent communication skills. So to get into the apprenticeship, there's nothing required, but to be a journeyman carpenter, you have to go through the 5 years of the apprenticeship to gain that. And here's some examples of where training could be sought if this is something that interests you. Now, in example 3, it's a CNC operator. So that's someone that reads data and operates it and implements it, or a machinist. And so for the CNC operator, high school diploma or equivalent. Same thing over here, except on the machinist, you might have trade school or community college certification. Technical skills and abilities, physical stamina and strength, math skills, analytical skills, troubleshooting, tool and equipment handling. And then you'll need additional skills to be the machinist. Dexterity is going to be one, of course, because you're working with your hands a lot. Math skills, computer application experience, physical stamina and strength, troubleshooting, safety protocols, tool and equipment handling, design and blueprint reading. So as you can see, we're basic and then we amp it up to the next level. Workplace navigation skills, detail-oriented, reliability, ability to follow directions. Same thing over here. We're going to add good judgment into the machinist. Work experience, none required for the operator. For the machinist, 1 to 2 years as a machine operator. And again, some resources as to where you could look to gain this job training. So if we look at the pyramid here, starting at the bottom up, I'm not going to go through each one of these because I pretty much explained how the pyramid works before when we were looking at it in terms of solar. But again, we're starting here and knowing that that's where we're going to start in terms of our wages and our employment opportunities. As we move up the chain and we get into the entry-level skilled job, which would be the weatherization technician, then our wages go up. Then when we move to the community colleges and private training programs, then we get into where we might be an energy auditor at about $45,000 per year nationally and similar in Illinois. And that increases with years of experience. And then finally, when you get to the top of the scale, this is the energy efficiency contractor, someone that runs an energy efficiency business. And they're going to be 70,000 plus per year. So I want to bring all of this back home, and I want to follow up a little bit with what Sally introduced to us. and talk about the Clean Energy Jobs Act and what it does, and highlight on a couple things that are specific to the workforce. So basically what we're looking to do here is to make sure that we're wanting to get to 100% clean energy by 2050 is the goal. Presently, the goal under the Future Energy Jobs Act is 25% renewables by 2025. That's for the investor-owned utilities, which are the public utilities, Ameren and ComEd. It's important to know in the state of Illinois that municipal and rural electric cooperatives do not fall under that umbrella because they're independently governed by their boards. Now, in terms of how what we want to do is create a diverse and equitable clean energy job force. So how do we do that? Well, 26 million per year is allocated to create a network of workforce development hubs that provide direct support from community education to workforce training for BIPOC, low income, and environmental justice communities, and those that formerly worked in the fossil fuel industry. This is currently set up as having 16 different workforce hubs across the state. So all the way from Northern Illinois down to Southern Illinois. And this gives an idea of where these hubs would be located. And what it really is a collaboration of community representatives, labor organizations, state officials, and education leaders to build a comprehensive and standardized clean energy curriculum and workforce development programs. Continuing with that, it creates a contractor incubator and prime contractor accelerator programs. That's 21 million per year to provide BIPOC contractors with access to capital, support for obtaining insurance, assistance registering to become vendors for the state incentive programs, and connections with firms hiring contractors and subcontractors and other vital services. The accelerator program provides an advanced tier of businesses to lead clean energy projects as prime contractors. It creates strong connections to Illinois Solar for All, which Sally also mentioned. That is part of FEJA, and it has been implemented and is operating. But its purpose is to, with FEJA, it expands the budget by 50 million per year to increase solar projects in low-income and environmental justice communities, bringing projects and jobs closer to where they're needed the most. It creates a new training and prisons program. So starting to retrain those that may be incarcerated now so that when they are released, they can come out and have skills that allow them to work to enter the workforce. And it prioritizes equitable hiring and ownership. So it gives companies meeting specified equity actions, priority access to renewable energy, energy efficiency, and electric vehicle incentives. So this all sounds great. But someone might say, well, how is this paid for, Michelle? Well, here we have it. The Energy Community Reinvestment Fund collects money through a small fee on fossil fuel pollution and a 6% coal severance fee on coal extraction. The fund supports the workforce programs as well as the just transition in former fossil fuel communities in other parts of CEJA. Why is it urgent? I can tell you why it's urgent. I can relay this from the heart passionately. As a clean energy business owner, I saw the best year ever in 2019 when FEJA was fully in swing. We had multiple teams working. I had teams in Central and Southern and Northern Illinois working. And we were positioned well for growth and for additional hiring opportunities. And unfortunate consequences that the funding for renewable energy credits, which is how we advance renewables in the state, got depleted. Why? Because the program was more successful than we thought, than it was originally intended it was going to be. And so CEJA returns the funding to that opportunity, which allows businesses to continue to grow. It allows opportunities for jobs to continue to be there. It allows the training programs that have been lined out to help BIPOC communities, environmental justice communities, low income communities, and those that have been displaced because of the coal plant closures to occur. So please support the Clean Energy Jobs Act and help us to get this passed through in the spring session. We hope to see you on Lobby Day, April 26th. Again, Thank you for your time. I appreciate you joining us today. Here's my contact information. Feel free to reach out to me with any questions that you might have. And thank you to the group for inviting me. I feel privileged to have been able to be here with you today.
Thank you so much, Michelle, for joining us and speaking on that. Any information from our speakers will be emailed to you guys after the event. So make sure to put in your emails at the end of the event and you will get all the information. So now we are going to pass it over to our last speaker, who is Amy from the Climate Economy.
Hi, everybody. Can you see that and hear me okay?
Yep, you're good.
Okay, great. Super. All right, I'm Amy McMorrow Hunter. I am the president and CEO of the Climate Economy Education, Inc., a 501c3 nonprofit for education on business models and lifestyles that are good for the climate, economy, and humanity. It's that triple bottom line. I got a bachelor in business with a minor in entrepreneurship and an instrument-rated pilot's license from the U of I in Urbana-Champaign. And then just a few years ago, I got a professional science master's in advanced energy and fuels management from SIU Carbondale. I got my sweatshirt on for luck today. And I worked at SIU Carbondale for something like 12 years in technology transfer and at the Energy Research Center. I'm super honored to be here today. I want to thank these SIU Edwardsville students who have worked so hard to put this event on. And I also want to thank Sally and Michelle for all that super helpful information. I wrote a lot of information here really fast. And so a lot of this is on my website. And also, please feel free to contact me anytime. So here's my outline today. I'm going to jump right in it. With our intro to the climate economy. This is business models and lifestyles that are a win-win-win for the climate economy and humanity. So, you know, here's how we do things. When we look at a business model or a lifestyle, it needs to be positive for the climate economy and humanity. We figure out ways to do things that are positive for all three. There's no point in doing something if it's not working this way. In the past, we've okayed activities that are great for the economy, but cause massive environmental destruction or disrupt human lives, even cause death. This is no longer acceptable or necessary. So Climate Economy Education, Inc., we're a 501c3 nonprofit for education on these business models and lifestyles that are win-win-win for the climate economy and humanity. We have 3 platforms here: Create Our Flat Earth, it's youth climate economy vendors. It's for targeted at high school students with hopefully college students and graduates as mentors. Then we have the cleannetwork.com, Climate Economy Action Network. There's online education on there, including a course about the Clean Energy Jobs Act. And then we have shopsouthernillinois.com, which is a sustainable local business directory. We started in 2019 with a kickoff event in Carbondale, and we've been making adjustments since then, especially since the COVID-19 disaster struck. I want to especially thank the Just Transition Fund for their unwavering support. We're just launching this new model of always on and at your own pace education and community building. So everything's just getting started. I'm very excited about it. All right, so now we're going to jump right into current trends and projections. So as of April 8th, 2021, carbon dioxide levels are higher than they've been at any point in the last 3.6 million years. This hasn't been a gradual, natural fluctuation like it has throughout time. We've caused a change, that is, we, humanity, that normally takes thousands or millions of years. We're now at 417 parts per million. And the last time the CO2 was at similar level temperatures, the temperatures were 3 to 4 degrees hotter and sea levels were 20 meters higher. So, not to mention, you know, there were no human activities or cities, you know, to worry about at that time. It was a totally different planet. Our coastal cities will be inundated with water with this situation. 3 to 4 degrees may not seem like a lot, but that big change that fast is not something that everyone on the planet, plants, animals, humans included, can adapt to. We've had basically the same temperatures for the last 10,000 years, and we've grown and learned through that. And so we've had these nice comfy temperatures that have facilitated all this human growth. And now that's in danger. So that's where we're headed without the change we need. So what is the change that we need? Well, emissions have to start going down immediately and fast, like in the next year or two, and eventually get to zero. Emissions are not going down yet. And the longer we wait to start bringing down the emissions, the harder it's going to get them where they need to be by 2050. The main thing we need to make these emissions reductions happen is to stop burning fossil fuels. So the transition to clean energy. Unfortunately, fossil fuel companies don't want us to stop burning fossil fuels, obviously. We know that fossil fuels have been great in getting us to where we are today, but we also know that there are better ways. Despite the fact that many fossil fuel companies claim to be going green, if you take a look at the numbers, they're just not serious. It may be a tiny percentage of their business activities that they're actually investing in renewables. And the most telling thing is this. They expect to keep burning fossil fuels at the same levels as we are now, or keeping them steady. So that's these graphs here are showing. And that means that emissions keep going up. Cumulatively, we're adding and adding and adding. So as I showed in the last graph, emissions have to start going down immediately, not staying even or going up. So, and we have to do that fast. We have to get to zero or negative. So the longer we wait to reduce emissions, the more expensive it becomes for your generation. The sooner we phase out fossil fuels, the more we can minimize the impacts. If we wait, we're going to have to turn to expensive and unproven strategies like bioenergy with carbon capture and storage, or geoengineering. This is going to add trillions of dollars to the overall cost of transition. So the sooner we move, the better. And I mean, this is a formidable foe we're working against here. They're supervillains of our time. We've known about greenhouse gases since 1856, and the fossil fuel industry has been trying to hide the damage of their products for decades. They're not going to stop, so we have to intentionally make this change happen. I mean, not only all that, but it's hard to change. Sometimes everyone just wants to maintain the status quo, or just go out and say they support change, but then not actually do it. The year 2020 was supposed to be when the world solved the problem of failing forests, and where we can rebuild from the ashes of the pandemic in a better way. But it's not going to happen unless we intentionally make it happen. Now, I'm not sure if any of you noticed, but the day that Trump was inaugurated, they took down the US government's climate change website, the first day. So what does that tell you? Well, for me, and this is just my theory, I mean, maybe it's the same people behind the deception to continue fossil fuel development behind that new government. I don't know, Secretary of State, ExxonMobil, Rex Tillerson, you know, it was just a theory though. So they're making their last grasp to hold on to their power. We know we have better ways now, we can change, but they don't want you to know that. They want to cement their hold on this source of income, no matter what the cost to society. So we all have to pay attention here, because again, they're doing everything they can to hold on to that power and reduce ours. I'm not saying this to scare you. It's just what's happening out there in the world. So should we just give up? No way. Never give up, okay? No way are we giving up. As long as we stand up and exercise our rights as American citizens and take hold of the opportunities that are out there right now, we're gonna be grand, super grand, okay? Secret sauce here is that we have the solution. So what Michelle and Sally have already been talking about, I mean, they're all ready to go. We just have to choose to take them. But there are even more solutions. We transition the climate economy. We choose to move away from the old way of doing things. We tear down the old ways that are in some ways harmful to the climate economy and humanity, and switch to better ways that we already know of that are good for all three, the climate economy and humanity. We have the technology, we have the money, and we're going to get fantastic returns on investment. All we need is the social and political will. Luckily, good things are happening already. These are just a few headlines we can point to. They're all over the place. We don't have to be afraid or uncertain. We just have to learn to filter out that noise, the scary and bad news that today's media likes to focus on. We just have to feed the right wolf here. We still have a long way to go, long way to go. but there's definite progress to report. Renewables are growing, clean energy policies work, and the green economy is already huge. And I mean, people agree on the transition to clean energy and adaptation and mitigation for climate change. The naysayers don't want you to focus on this, of course. They want to sow division, because that's another way to slow down progress. This study shows that people not only agree on prioritizing the pursuit of clean energy, but also in participating in the Paris Agreement. There's many, many studies that show that. The potential benefits of this change are massive positive. I mean, this is a document produced by the EPA under the Obama administration about the benefits of reducing global greenhouse gas emissions. We have better air and water quality, lower temperatures, lower electricity costs, billions of dollars saved from avoided damages from sea level rise and floods, huge savings in avoided damages from agriculture, forestry, marine life. Here's just one study, a report by Bill Gates, calculates that an investment of $1.8 trillion just in these 5 areas that are listed here will result in a return on investment of $7.1 trillion. That's a freaking huge return on investment. There are literally hundreds of studies out there with similar projections for other areas. With clean energy jobs that, you know, Michelle and Sally have been talking about with a just transition, where we're making sure that we take care of the workers losing their jobs in fossil fuels, we still have a net gain of 11.6 million jobs in energy alone by 2050 globally. Women with full rights will play an important role in this economy as well, contributing $28 million to the GDP every year by 2025. With just transition for fossil fuel workers, there's literally no downside. This Rewiring America study says we're going to create 25 million jobs at peak just in the United States, permanent jobs, keeps emissions below targets, and lowers electricity costs. Yes, sign me up, please. And again, the Clean Energy Jobs Act, a study they did shows that we're bringing $1.5 billion of investment into the state by setting up strong policies and committing to clean energy. Yes, sign me up for that too, please. And like I said, it's not just clean. A recent report from the World Economic Forum has identified $10 trillion in business opportunities and the potential of creating 395 million jobs by 2030. That's a lot of jobs. I mean, taking care of nature is totally worth it. So what do these jobs look like? Well, we'll talk about that in a few minutes. Well, obviously, it's just the right thing to do as well. I mean, we need to put forth a good future for the younger generations, and I am including you guys here. That's what I am working, 16-year-old, and that's one of my main goals. So now we're going to switch into our 3 steps to a low carbon lifestyle. This is not going to be your typical list that I think you're expecting. So here we go. Understand your needs and impact. So number 1, understand your impact. Number 2, be a star in the climate economy. And number 3, share and participate. So first, understand your needs and impact. It starts with your personal wholeness. We all know the saying, if you haven't got your health, you haven't got anything. We need to be physically healthy or getting there. Safe and secure or getting there. We need to be mentally healthy. These things have to be our first priority so that we can manage things that happen in other areas of our lives. Never feel bad for taking care of yourself, okay? And now when we talk about needs, we can also take a look at what we want to achieve. In the past, we've been taught to go for the best paying jobs, paying the most money so that we can get the big houses, fast cars, and take the big vacations. Well, it turns out that kind of lifestyle doesn't always ensure happiness. And it's also bad for the environment. So we can find other ways to define wealth and achievement. People really want to have that sense of belonging in addition to personal achievements. So we can work on that. Now, obviously, we have to understand our carbon footprint. This is the amount of CO2 we're emitting annually through our personal behavior. We can calculate this, we can evaluate it and improve it. There are many footprint calculators online, and I'm linking you here to one I developed when I was at SIU, because of course I feel it's the best one. Now, the reason our carbon footprint is so important to reduce is because Americans have the biggest global footprint by far. Countries like China want to have what we have, but if they're all going to start having our carbon footprints, we're doomed. We don't have enough resources on the planet to support everyone's consumption at this level. So Americans have a special responsibility to reduce our footprints as much as possible. Now, calculating your footprint is just the beginning. In addition to our own individual understanding and actions, we have to work for systemic change. Things like switching off fossil fuels for energy is not something any one of us can do alone. We have to work to change the system. One way you can participate now is by joining a social tipping intervention. There's lots of them out there. There's even these things happening in Illinois, like with the Illinois Clean Jobs Coalition, and also the Illinois Stewardship Alliance, who are working on food issues. Throw your energy behind these organizations doing this work. Okay, deep breath. Step one, understand your actual needs and desires and how you can make the most impact for change on both your individual and systemic level, okay? I'm gonna move on to step two. I'm just taking a deep breath because step two is a big one. All right, everybody ready? Okay, step two, be a star in the climate economy. Dive into the areas that interest you. Explore, find your niche. Education is a great thing for finding your niche. You might be the kind of person who knows a little bit about a lot of things, or you might be one of those people who wants to be an expert on catalysis for biochemical reactions, et cetera, et cetera. It's all important. Every one of us has a role to play. It's just about diving into our passions and what interests us and seeing where it takes us. So I'm going to run through some sectors and then take a look at what some of these jobs look and feel like. There are literally infinite niches and possibilities. And so please stay tuned, to the climate economy to keep in touch with all this stuff. And keep in mind that all these things have clean energy at their core. We're going to start off with the circular economy. In regards to climate change, the circular economy way of thinking, we move away from the linear take, make, waste model of consumption. We design it so that we design out waste. In industries like food, steel, cement, plastics, and aluminum, processes can be redesigned to reduce waste and conserve energy. Changing the way we make products and produce food could reduce total greenhouse gas emissions by 45% by 2050, according to a recent study by the Ellen MacArthur Foundation. This is the kind of publication that just makes me run out of highlighter in one sitting. So much good stuff, highly recommended. But we can use the idea of circular design for fashion. According to the Ellen MacArthur Foundation, 1 truckload of clothing is wasted per second. Wait, what? That's insane, right? So instead of that, for example, we're making clothing in a way that can be recycled over and over. The circular economy has a huge potential in many industries to save tons of money by reducing waste and increasing efficiency and keeping stuff out of landfills. And many companies are already taking advantage of these new ideas. We've talked a lot about the transition to clean energy, and that's because that's literally priority number one here. It's the low-hanging fruit. But let's look at what else we're talking about when we're thinking about switching our economy to renewable energy. IRENA, the International Renewable Energy Industry, has produced some of my favorite reports. This technology landscape for variable renewable energy is one of them. I can't even tell you how exciting this report is. Oops, I forgot to plug my computer in. We have enabling technologies that play a key role in energy. We have business models, innovative models that create the business case for new services. We have market design, new market structures, and changes in the regulatory framework. We have system operation, innovative ways of operating the electricity system, allowing the integration of higher shares of variable renewable power generation. We are just at the start of this. Every sort of expertise and creativity is required here. Food is another huge area. The way we produce food has a lot of high production costs, emissions, chemicals, and other problems, and still people become hungry or become obese. I think we waste 1/3 of our food. Humans have become really disconnected with our food, and sometimes it comes from miles and miles away when we could buy it from a local farmer. Forests are being cleared to produce food in that way. It's then shipped thousands of miles and much of it is wasted. That's the old way and we need to get rid of it. In the climate economy, we build more locally focused food chain. We have neighborhood and rooftop gardens, meatless meat, local cooperatives, community composting with biochar, trees and solar and croplands. We've got several wins for the climate economy and humanity here. And I've got an event coming up on April 20th, 2 events. One about hydroponics and food production and the other about local food and farming next week. Natural climate solutions is another huge area. We can reduce emissions in the short term by 37% with natural climate solutions. This is conservation, restoration, land management. And I mean, the restoration economy is already hugely developed. It's hugely profitable and it's just poised for growth. Variety of strategies, everything from afforestation and reforestation that are a little bit longer term to more short-term things as well. And I've got an event on April 27th about biochar and a local carbon economy. So again, make sure you're signing up for those events. And we always record everything too, so those will be available if you can't make it. Buildings and homes and efficiency, like what Michelle was talking about. There's a lot of work to be done. There's already a huge jobs area in Illinois and it's going to grow. We can refurbish old energy guzzling houses and build self-sufficient new houses with sustainable materials. I have an event coming up on April 23rd, next Friday, about this. So I'm just going to show you some quick pictures of houses because this is so fun. We have tiny homes. These are becoming really popular. We have dome homes, which are super energy efficient and resilient to tornadoes and stuff like that. And of course, we have smart homes, which we're all need because we're going to need our electric vehicles from Rivian up in Bloomington, right? We can build whole villages that are self-sufficient for energy and food and get materials we need locally. I'm having another event about this next week on Wednesday, Regen Villages. So April 21st at 4. Okay, forgot to take that slide out. This, you can't read this one as well, but the picture in the back is so pretty. So tourism accounts for 8% of greenhouse gas emissions per year. 8%, that's a lot. So, I mean, one of my favorite things to think about for this is have you ever seen Santa Claus 3 where Jack Frost turns the North Pole into this commercial nightmare and it's just like, no, that's so wrong. So we can take our tourism and turn it into something so much more wholesome. I experience the magic of nature. There's just new ways of providing tourism that provide funds for wildlife and environmental protection, new community and entrepreneurial venture development, lots and lots of wins for climate, economy, and humanity. We even have some stuff going on already in Southern Illinois for alternative spring break for ecotourism, and that's going to be growing, I hope, in the future. So what do these jobs look and sound like? I'm going to try to go a little faster here. So this is from National Geographic, and we've got a lot of different, things maybe we haven't heard of before. Green builders, water quality technicians, clean car engineers. We've also got new job descriptions that are more business focused. This is strategic analysis and planning is going to be really important going forward. So we have value creators, we have change agents, coalition builders, and futurists. And now back to this future of nature and business report that I was telling you about. So there's going to be developments in 3 big areas. So land and ocean use, infrastructure in the built environment, and of course, energy. And this is going to could create 395 million jobs by 2030. That's really soon, okay? Now, this is a crazy slide, but these jobs are just in every single sector, and they've got really cool names like ecosystem restoration and planet compatible consumption. I mean, we need to become compatible with the planet. There's just so many great opportunities here. Circular and resource efficient models, nature positive metals and materials extraction. There's tons of stuff here, so please take a look at this. Now, this is a specific link to a job site, and this is a really good site that I have identified. They're out there. The jobs are out there. They're everywhere already. One place, this is climatebase.org. They've got job listings from all kinds of companies involved in one way or another with clean energy and climate. We're talking about everything here from computer science to hard science to sales and marketing. So we need all hands on deck, all skills and passion. We have whole industries to transform here. This is Uber Elevate. They're envisioning electric powered airplanes as taxis. Okay, we're gonna do this. We're totally doing this. Okay, real quick, participate and share. This is an easy one. Okay, share your new expertise, participate in building this new climate economy. You might not know where to start. Well, just go out there and look for some volunteer opportunities. They're all over the place. You can look at Patagonia Action Works, for example. They've got all kinds of organizations they support, and they have a site where you can look for jobs and stuff. And then my site also, we have lots of volunteer opportunities here locally. And I mean, you have to think about joining a group or starting your own team. Okay, find your A team. Throughout time, I mean, we need others who complement our skills and our expertise. There's been so many great examples of teams throughout time that have achieved amazing and sometimes, yes, horrible things. But community building is all about working together and putting our collective strengths to work. So my websites all have community building activities and things on there too, but you can do it, you can do this anywhere. So I just wanted to throw a final question out there. I mean, so many things have changed during my lifetime. Some big ones were like the discovery of planets around suns. I mean, how many scientists did it take to figure that out? And then smoking on airplanes in all public places. I mean, come on, that was huge. That took so much work, and it's still really hard. You have to keep working at it, So I want you to think, what's something you'd like to see change in your lifetime? Think big. Are you thinking of something? All right, so let's go do it. That's all I got.
All righty, everybody. So thank you so much to Amy for all of that amazing information. As of right now, we are going to open up our discussion up for questions and answers that anybody may have. While anybody may be thinking about their questions or anything else like that, feel free to put your email in the chat so that we can link all of the information that we have gathered through all of this. If you don't feel comfortable putting your information or your email in the public chat, then you are more than welcome to find any of us to reach out to send us your email. However it may work for you guys is amazing to us, and we really do appreciate everybody logging in and being here and watching this. So if anybody has any questions or anything like that, we would like to open it up. You can put them in the chat, you can unmute yourself, whatever way would be best for you guys would be amazing for anybody. If you have a targeted question, then put their name, or if it's just open, then whatever you guys want to do. Claire looks like she raised her hand.
Yeah, hi. Sorry, I'm not on video. I've got my toddler jumping around in the background. I was just wondering, she was mentioning that there were opportunities to volunteer and things like that. And I was wondering if there are opportunities to volunteer like virtually, just because, like I said, I've got a toddler jumping around. I've got some restrictions, but I am available, to work, to do things from home a lot. So yeah, I was just wondering if there are any avenues in that direction.
I'll just jump in real quick and say absolutely. Most of my volunteer positions are online at the moment because I've been developing them under this new paradigm that we're working under. I mean, like I have a news curator. So if you have a specific interest in a certain area of science or technology or something, you can curate some news articles for me. Or you can mentor students. I mean, obviously that could be virtual. You can work with developing events and things like this. Usually most of the work I do is virtual. There's tons of stuff that can be accomplished online. So absolutely, yes.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you so much. I will look into reaching out to you via the website.
Great.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I'll jump in and say that Sierra Club also has opportunities, and we also are virtual. And I'll put a link to how you would find out more about that in the chat.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
I had a question that came up as I was watching everything. So Michelle, in a lot of your jobs that you were bringing up, you mentioned it's OSHA 10 training. OSHA, is that what it is? OSHA,
OSHA.
yeah. So I'm just wondering how long, because a lot of them required that that you had that, or it was helpful. Do you know how long those trainings are and the cost possibly of what they would be?
Yeah, so that stands for Occupational Safety and Hazard Association. I think that's what the acronym is, just to clarify that. And 10 means 10 hours.
Okay.
So yeah, so it's about a 10-hour training. And I'll go offline here and I'll find a link to some OSHA training opportunities and put it in the chat real quick.
Yeah, I was just wondering because it was like,
Yeah, no, that's a good question.
Yeah. I also have another question, Amy. So do you know of any companies off the top of your head that are doing the recycling clothing, that have moved to that? Because that's interesting. Like, I think that's really cool that we're doing that, because obviously the fashion industry is very, very big and kind of disruptive. Yeah.
Well, there's probably a lot of small innovative companies out there, local things going on and stuff like that. I know there's a lot of like Facebook sites, for example, where you can trade stuff.
Yes.
There's little clothing swaps. There's all kinds of stuff like that going on a small basis. On a larger basis, you can look at the Ellen MacArthur Foundation website for the circular economy. I'm almost positive that they have probably a coalition of businesses that are working on that, because this goes way back into their supply chains, everything from harvesting the fibers and the, the stuff needed to make the materials all the way up to producing it and everything else. So it's very, it's complicated, time consuming. We do have a lot of companies working on that. And something I try to keep up lists of, or at least post news and stuff of companies doing good things and alternatives that we can find for things. So that information is definitely out there.
Yeah.
And
Thank you.
Yeah, I can jump in on that as well. Caitlin, did you say you were from Alton?
Uh-huh.
There's actually a group of 3 young women who have just started a clothing exchange, and I'll find them on Facebook and post the link for you. So they gather up the clothes that you no longer want and make them available to women's shelters. They try to make sure that if somebody has a job interview, they have nice clothes to wear. So they're looking to do this very thing. They're looking to gather up textiles like towels and sheets that people don't want and find another place for those things, to make sure that there are clothes that you can choose from. And you can have a free cycle rack so that you just go and you find some fabulous piece of clothing that has been gently worn, and you can get much more use out of it. And there's also clothing swap, typically around this time of the year, but it might be delayed because of COVID, also in Alton.
That's awesome. Well, I gotta because I mean, that's where I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I'm Carla. I'm not associated with Patagonia whatsoever, but Patagonia has a great worn wear program where you can return your used clothes to them, and then they will take and sell them online, and they repair them and refurbish them, sell them online, and also they create a lot of their clothes out of recycled other wares and stuff. So if you're looking for stuff like that, I like their stuff, but I'm not associated with them. Just wanted to show.
I think Claire had a question.
Yeah, sorry, I'm being annoying.
Not at all.
I wanted to ask about well, see if anybody might be able to expand on the ecotourism topic. I had mentioned in the chat that I was actually quite interested in that, and I was going to study that for graduate school, but then I'm doing the applied communications program at SIUE instead, which I'm very excited about. But I would like to look into ecotourism, possibly in conjunction with, like, you know, any sort of like wildlife, you know, rehabilitation and habitat protection and stuff like that, and how those might be able to work together. So I was just curious if anybody might have any more information that they could impart about that, if they know of any organizations that you know, might be able to give more information, you know, just kind of expanding from it if possible.
I'll just jump in. Yeah, I've got lots of information. I've got a post or two on theclimateeconomy.com about it, but also I had a slide up there about a local organization. It's the Shawnee Trails, and they're the River to River Trail organization. They do a lot of stuff, organize. It's actually theclimateeconomy.com for the website. And they are locally organizing stuff already, and so you could jump in to help. Oh, there's also like Touch of Nature, and there's a couple other organizations. I mean, there's one right on in Cedar Lake. Sally or Michelle, I don't know if you would know that, but
I don't know personally.
I mean, there are organizations. I can't think of them off the top of my head, but I can definitely help you out with that.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. You know,
no problem.
It's very exciting.
I think
so. Thank you.
I have a question for any of our speakers. I know a lot of big corporations do more harm than good, but can you guys think of any good things that corporations or people have done to accomplish a cleaner Earth?
I can take this one. I know that we've probably seen the commercials on public television about Ford, for example, working to produce more electric vehicles, working to become all renewable, and to have, you know, their entire operation renewable. I think it's 2035. So I think that's leadership. I think the electric vehicle sector is going to continue to grow. And let's remember that then we can be charging our electric vehicles with the power from the sun. So if we have solar, then we electric vehicle charging station, vehicle in, and we charge. Hopefully during the day, or we have battery backup that allows us to do it at night when we get home, either way. So I think Apple's also been a leader in working on that. Disney. So a lot of, I think, larger corporations are buying in on our understanding the importance of going renewable within their operations. That was a great question, Allie.
Yes, thank you. And I could just elaborate on that a little bit. I mean, there are a lot of organizations out there like the Carbon Disclosure Project that is tracking companies. It's helping companies to set up specific targets for emissions reductions, things like that. We have other coalitions out there that are, you know, specifically focused around reducing waste or, you know, different things. So there are a lot of good things going on out there. The problem is, like, a lot of times we don't know about it, we don't hear about it. So that's another thing, you know, hopefully we'll be getting more and more information out there so people can actually choose those companies that are doing those good things, because there are a lot of companies out there doing good things.
I guess I have a question if nobody else has one to kind of round out everything. I know we had discussed with Sally, like when we had first started all of this, what were some small things that we could do to try and decrease our footprint and try and make a better impact on the earth and all. We had discussed something about not letting our cars idle and things like that. I know that was one of the very first things that we had brought up. Are there any other just like tips that anybody can think of to try and help us be more conscious and be more aware of what we are outputting into the world?
Can I take
can
this?
talk a
with my-
little. Oh,
Sorry.
Go ahead, Kaylin.
I just wanted to bring up a couple things that are like really simple things that people don't think of that I've done. So in my house, I do not have like my shampoo, my conditioner, all of my soaps, my dish soap, everything is bar soap and it's made from locally owned businesses. So I'm buying locally, one, feeding the economy. Two, I am getting rid of that extra paper, like extra plastic that comes with shampoos and all those things. And I feel like it's just a small little change that has really, I think will help. I mean, yeah, if you think about it, like you don't really think about whenever you go get shampoo, you're like, oh, whatever, I don't know. I want the best shampoo for my hair. But honestly, the shampoo that I've been using is like perfect. Like it's really good. Another thing that I switched over was I don't have paper towels anymore. I completely got rid of paper towels and I now have, they're called unpaper towels pretty much. So you just wash them and they work the same way. It's almost as if like whenever you have like a baby and you have diapers and you reuse the diapers, that's kind of the same thing. And then another thing, oh, I switched, actually I have them right here. They're really cool. So these little, yeah, so they're made naturally and they're in this little tiny packaging. It's called True Earth. That's their eco strips. They're for detergent. And so instead of getting those big things of those plastic things of detergent are also one heavy. So the trucks that are loading them on, it's releasing out more gas. You get this little package where you can pack in so much more and it only takes one. So you just drop it in there and then you wash. So I mean, that's just a couple things that I did that are like really simple and like people don't think about them. And that doesn't cost like I still have a lot in here. It's I think 32 loads in this thing, and I think it was $15. And that's like you can spend $10 on detergent too, and it smells great and you can do different flavors or whatever. But that's something. Oh, and switching over to like the wool balls instead of the dryer sheets, because those are pointless. But so those are just some things that like I've done that were just like little baby things. But you guys can talk too. Sorry, I'm just so excited about the detergent strips. They're my favorite.
Oh, that was great. That was great. I'll go back first off to when I was a Montessori teacher. As I mentioned, we had a philosophy: reduce, reuse, recycle. Of course, the 3 R's. And everybody had to bring their lunch every day, and we'd come set in group. And it was the 6 to 12-year-olds. So this is about 50 students or so. And we would actually take out our lunch and we would look at each piece of what was included in there, and we'd count the pieces of garbage, the things that couldn't be recycled or reused. And so if we're talking 50 people, we got down at one point to where we had 10 items, because we really worked with the students about going home and educating their parents about buying in bulk and then having reusable containers and then putting all of their food into the usable containers and then taking their lunch from that. And furthermore, parents were like, will you stop it already? Because now we've got all this work we've got to do. But then we took it a step further and we said, well, it's not on your parents, it's on you. You need to be the one at night pouring your juice into your juice box. You need to be the one doing these things. So that was on an educational level about just buying in bulk and then breaking it down instead of doing the convenient thing of buying it in little packages that we can grab and go, which we all like to do for time. And we've gotten kind of spoiled with that. Then on the energy efficiency side, because in renewables, the first step to any renewable project is we want to reduce. And so that's important. So LED lighting, turning off lights, phantom loads, unplugging things when you're not using it, not leaving your laptop up and running when you're not using it, making sure when you open that refrigerator, you've got purpose, you get it out and put it in, turning down the heat on your electric water heater. So just a couple of things that in terms of energy efficiency, that can be big to help reduce that load and help us to all do better at consuming less electricity.
Yes, awesome. Thanks, Michelle. I will just pipe in here. Obviously, I'm a big education proponent. So, I mean, there's so much to learn out there. You can learn about everything you use, everything you do. Learn about it. Learn about what you're getting, where it comes from, who's making it, what, you know, their supply chain. You know, do they care about that kind of stuff? I mean, just be more conscious. And there's so much we can learn about. I mean, the information is all out there. So for me, education is a big one. I mean, look how much we've learned today, just sitting here together and sharing all these ideas. It's always a great thing to do.
Well, on behalf of everybody from GPS, we would like to thank our guest speakers, Michelle and Amy, and also Sally, for coming. Thank you guys so much. I learned a lot too, being a host, and I'm sure everybody in the audience learned a lot as well. And I think that is it. But thank you guys so much for coming. We really appreciate it, truly.
Yes, and if you still
Having
haven't put your email in the chat, go ahead and do it so we can send you all this good information. And so that you can stay up to date with any new stuff that's coming out.
Mhm.
Thanks everyone
Thank
again.
you,
Really
guys.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Great job.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.